Been in this industry since routers were invented. This stuff's moving so fast. I mean,
Right.
it's hard to fathom. We're building AI boot camps. We're building one for our board of directors.
Sorry, let's pause in there. You're telling your board of directors they need to go through an AI bootcamp?
They ask for it. They want to ask more intelligent questions. There are certainly going to be jobs that are going to be displaced. The thing that worries me most is the pace at which it could occur.
Welcome to This Is Working, where leaders share their strategies for success and the lessons that shape them. Chuck Robbins is the CEO of networking equipment giant Cisco, whose equipment is used to route about 85% of the world's internet traffic. I sat down with Chuck in front of a live audience at the World Economic Forum in Davos to talk about how Cisco is leading the AI revolution and how he thinks companies and people need to change as AI changes how we do our jobs. You've talked about Cisco being late to the cloud and missing this opportunity and not having that happen with AI. And you are now talking to things that Fortune 100 companies are like, tell us how this is going to work because we don't understand it ourselves. That is being ahead of the game.
Yep.
Can you talk about how you changed Cisco or what you did internally to make sure the company was ready for this moment?
It's people, just plain and simple. It's having the right people. I mean, I didn't recognize all this stuff. It's smart people that work for us that actually dug in, and a lot of them are in the room here. I try to give the team the leeway to run and to try things and to do things and be aggressive. But I also just made a commitment that we were never going to miss one again, and we were never going to deny a transition was happening. You know, that's what we sort of did with the cloud. We didn't know what our role was, so we in turn said, well, it's really not going to happen. We were right, huh? And on this one, we're super prepared. We got the right technology. Our teams are designing. We're running parallel efforts on silicon design now because different customers need different things, or you're just trying to get ahead and design the next generation silicon so that you can shorten the cycle.
Yeah.
But I think it was just bringing people in that have a sense of urgency, speed, and competitiveness and want to win.
But how do you do that? I mean, I think for a lot of companies and a lot of leaders who are looking at what AI is bringing to their companies and they're thinking, I'll figure this out in a couple of years, or this isn't going to be that big, or it's not going to matter to us. And the answer is, of course it will.
We definitely hired differently. We're hiring more modern tech stack thinkers, but we also we give people permission to get out on the front end of this thing. And we don't know. When the team came to me with this vision for AI defense, what was it, 9 or 12 months ago, and then built it that quickly, we didn't really know. And we're building a stack for the enterprise right now. If you look at, we did an AI study of the enterprises, and only 13% of them will tell you they're ready, but 85% will say, I better have something done in the next 18 months. Right. So we're just trying to get ahead and help guide them in how they should deploy it, because, I mean, much like your big parent company, we've had a long history in the enterprise, so we understand how they work. We have their trust, and we're going to learn with them. But based on the AI defense launch, it was really refreshing to me to have all these people in the room really looking for forward thought leadership on what they should be thinking about. And virtually all of them want to be in an early field trial now.
Yeah. So let's talk about security for a second. What are the biggest questions they're asking? What do companies, anyone who is here watching this or is listening to this later, watching it later, what advice would you give about being prepared for, make sure your companies are sort of hardened against whatever problems might arise?
I think they're all worried about it, but they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
They don't know where to start. And so what we gave them was a place to start.
Okay.
At its core, just monitoring the models. At its core, it's sort of like, well, of course I need to do that. I didn't know I didn't know how I would do that. So it's sort of just because we were sort of the first to bring this holistic set of solutions together, they're all saying, yes, I need to be able to tell my CEO that we have a product in that can actually provide guardrails around these AI models, because that's what the boardrooms are asking and that's what they're going to want to know. I think this is an area where the companies, manufacturers, the vendors like us, who get out on the front and actually educate customers and bring them solutions, they don't know what to ask. They're just looking for us to bring them solutions. I think that's what the team did.
How do you keep up? How do you personally stay on top of what's going on?
I don't. I have a lot of smart people.
Yeah.
Well, I have one advantage. I have a computer science degree, and I wrote code originally, so I have an affinity for the tech. Obviously, that was, 27,000 years ago when I did it. There's people in the audience that spend a lot of time educating me, and I spend a lot of time talking to them. And we're building AI boot camps. We're building one for our board of directors.
Sorry, let's pause in there. You're telling your board of directors they need to go through an AI boot camp?
They asked.
They asked to.
they want to ask more intelligent questions. They want to understand what we're talking about more effectively. And this is, if you're not in technology, it's like, and this stuff's moving so fast. I mean,
Right.
it's hard for people who are deep in tech to keep up with the pace at which this is moving. And so you ask people who don't understand tech, so they're saying, please educate us, give us some core baseline education so I can at least understand what you guys are talking about.
Do you worry at all about what this technology is going to mean for the workforce in general, for how countries, what jobs are going to be available to people?
Yeah, I think that there are certainly going to be jobs that are going to be displaced. There's no doubt. I mean, every piece of technology has displaced jobs, I mean, over the years. And, but I think the thing that worries me most about this one, about that particular issue, is the pace at which it could occur, because others have been more gradual. And, you know, if you think about some of the major technology transitions that have eliminated jobs, they sort of like take a while, and then the next generation is sort of they get educated in different areas. They obviously aren't trying to get educated for jobs that don't exist anymore. And so they naturally, it sort of takes care of itself.
Right.
This is happening so quickly that we're probably going to have much more proactive strategies on how we reskill and retrain, because a lot of the jobs that are going to be created won't be great fits for the people who are displaced.
Is there a role that business needs to play in that, or is that a government responsibility?
I think there absolutely is. I think we should do it because we're human beings, if for no other reason. So, I mean, these people need hope, right? They got to have, so.
So Cisco doing anything on this?
We do a lot on it. We have a program. It's called Network Academies because we started it when we were just a networking company 30 years ago. But Fran, how many students did we do last year? 4 million? 4.7 million students we educated around the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is reskilling adults. A lot of it is, teaching cyber skills. We've taken it into prisons. I mean, so yeah, we're very active in this space, and it's very easy for us to take that platform and it's got a broad array of capabilities. So it's not just, not everything is going to be a triple expert in cybersecurity.
Right.
There's entry-level network operators and things like that some folks can try to figure out. And we're not the only company that has these kind of training programs. So
Yep.
I think it would be great if the major companies would come together and perhaps try to, we've tried it, by the way, and it hasn't worked so far. I've only been on 2 task forces that have tried this twice.
Maybe this time will be different.
Maybe we'll take it more seriously, but giving people a single place where they could go take some sort of assessment that says, hey, based on what we see, here are the 6 different things that you might be interested in that might be a fit for you. I think something like that would be super valuable, and it's not that hard to do, honestly.
It's a great site called LinkedIn Learning, which might be a great solution here for this. So
it would be great. I'd be happy to use you guys to do it.
that's great. You are a global CEO. You meet with companies around the world. I'm curious, are you seeing demand everywhere? Are you seeing AI adoption everywhere? Or are you seeing particular countries or regions kind of stand out in their growth and adoption here?
U.S. the U.S. stands out way beyond anybody else right now. I mean, obviously, China's making a lot of great moves and making a lot of progress, and probably aren't nearly as far behind us as some folks would like to think they are. I think there's other countries that are caught up trying to decide how much innovation they want to encourage versus regulation, and this is moving too fast to be struggling with that issue right now. And
You're seeing a widening gap from the U.S. and China and the rest of the world?
yeah, I am.
Any hope that other countries are going to,
Yeah, they hope.
Yeah, they hope.
I mean, it's a tough one because it's really expensive. You got to have really bright people, and you got to move fast, and you got to be willing to take risks.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate that we have a lot of big companies who have deep pockets and can afford to spend the money they've spent to get to where we are. And we have a government in the U.S. who recognizes the importance of light regulation on this. And I think the industry has been more forthcoming, which I'm grateful for, on assessing the risks up front and thinking through those risks much more so than we have with other technologies in the past. I think and I'm not calling anybody out, but I think social media, we didn't realize what some of the implications of that might be until we saw them. And so we learned from that, and I'm sure others. And I think I'm really happy that the industry is at least debating these things and not trying to deny that they're going to be problems.
I'd love to end these with career advice. So I have a couple questions for you. When you talk to rising leaders in your company, what skills are you looking for them? And has that changed at all as you've seen AI come in?
I don't know that it's changed with AI. I think AI just exacerbates it. It's that drive. It's that desire to learn. And I think increasingly it's really important to stay up to speed on what's happening in the world around you. And I know that sounds a little bit like motherhood and apple pie, but I use the example when I was actually selling, I didn't have to care about geopolitics. I didn't have to care about what might happen next week. I didn't have to care about what are the compliance issues my customers might be facing. And I think those things are different today. I mean, if you're engaged with a customer, you probably need to understand the potential geopolitical risks that they're thinking about and how that affects how you engage with them as a customer. And I don't think that's something that I did not have to do. I think I'm glad I didn't have to do it, but I should say I wish I would have, so I ought to learn more early.
Jamie Dimon had said recently that he thinks EQ is the skill that is going to be absolutely the most required.
No doubt.
Exactly what you're describing.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I have brilliant people, and they fail miserably because they don't have an EQ. Mm-hmm. No idea. Say something to somebody and you go, did you really just say that?
Right.
What? Or the person who, because they like to have very direct conversations, I want to have direct, I'm good with direct conversations. It's like, well, that's great. Well, that other person might not be.
Right.
And you have to be able to read and understand how people want to be communicated with. But so many people just say, well, I'm good with direct conversations, so I'm just going to tell them. Okay. Maybe they don't like that approach, but go ahead.
So you want your people to be staying on top of the news, understand, and it sounds like almost having empathy for what their customers might be going through, not just dealing with leadership, but also thinking about these external issues that will be. You're
going to be better. You're going to be better. Your customers are going to find more value from you if you're talking to them in the context of what they care about, and what they're dealing with. Look, the people that are going to get ahead are the ones they're going to work hard. They're going to have that drive. You need to work in a collaborative way in today's world, I think, to be successful. If you're going to operate at scale, you have to have some level of collaborative capabilities. So I don't think it's changed that much.